inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanity. Hush.
I hope you guys enjoyed that intro. Hey, how's it going guys? Arman here with a new video, and this is the follow-up video of the review of Oppo UDP-203 that I did 2 years ago. Now this player was released in 2016, 3 years ago, and I bought this player on June of 2017. So it has been more than 2 years since I've had this player, and I made a video that was the most loved video on my channel. Thank you guys for that. Now that was 2 years ago, and a lot has changed after that. Let's discuss what has changed. Let's test what has changed. This is the video for that. Also guys, stick till the end of this video. There is a giveaway at the end of this video. I hope you will enjoy that giveaway. So let's get started. Before I start this video, I would request you to watch the first part of this review, which will be linked down in the description below. This is sort of a second part, a follow-up video of that original video. For the things that have changed, number one, Oppo Digital just stopped their business. On 2nd of April 2017, they tweeted and they put a post on Instagram where they said that they no longer will be making new products. Even the existing products they will no longer be making, and all the products that are in stock will be sold. This was less than a year when I bought this player, and I got pretty scared because I spent a lot of money on this player, and I thought if they're doing this, maybe there will be no software support, but they assured that there will be software support. We'll talk about software support later. Now let's go to point number 2. Back when I reviewed this player 2 years ago, the Dolby Vision firmware was not available. Shortly after the Dolby Vision firmware was released, so this device supported Dolby Vision. Number 3, not only the hardware based Dolby Vision, but when Sony announced that their TVs will be getting Dolby Vision, it was a software based, a new Profile 5 Dolby Vision, which this player did not support. But Oppo replied and said that they are working on that update on the Dolby Vision software based firmware with the chip makers, the MediaTek and Dolby, and they will release the update when it's ready. They sure did. They took some time, but they released an update which enabled Dolby Vision on Sony TVs, that is the Profile 5, the software based Dolby Vision, which Oppo likes to call player led Dolby Vision. Number 4, so it was long after Oppo said that they would not run any business, they announced on Twitter that they will be supporters of HDR10 Plus also, and shortly after that tweet they released a firmware update that enabled HDR10+2. That is amazing. This player supports all the HDR formats now. HDR10, Dolby Vision hardware based, Dolby Vision software based, and HDR10 Plus as well. Number 5. Back when I reviewed this player 2 years ago, the HDMI input of the player only supported 4K at 60 frames. It did not support HDR. But after some time, Oppo released a firmware update that enabled HDR pass-through from the HDMI input. And my only complaint with the HDMI input of the player left was that this did not support Dolby Vision pass-through. But in the last firmware, this player received an update which enabled Dolby Vision pass-through as well. How that works? It bypasses the signal. That means that it does not do any processing on the signal. It just bypasses the same exact signal that it receives. These were all the things that this player supports that the firmware update has added. But there were a few things that I discovered that this player does not do. The first one is the new Dolby Atmos codec, which is not enclosed in the Dolby True HD or Dolby Digital Plus, which is a standard Dolby Atmos format which Netflix uses. Which means that if you input the Apple TV 4K in the HDMI in of this player will pass through Dolby Vision with the HDMI in bypass feature, but it will not pass through Dolby Atmos because this player does not support that codec of Dolby Atmos which Apple TV and Netflix uses. Dolby has officially and successfully fragmented both of their major formats, Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. Fortunately, all the Dolby Vision formats are supported, but not all the Dolby Atmos formats are supported. But that's not a big deal, only Apple TV does that. The second thing which I discovered was when I was reviewing my Sony HDR10 5.1 channel surround audio bar, the link will be down in the description below, was that soundbar only supported Dolby Digital and not DTS. So this player does not have the option to convert all the audio streams into Dolby Digital. It can be done through the digital output, but not over HDMI. Not a big deal, but this would have been a lot more convenient for the people who have soundbars and AV receivers that only support Dolby Digital and not DTS. Now that we have talked about all the things, let's test all the new formats on this player. I'll show you how they perform on the external media through disc and everything. One thing to be noted is if your TV supports both HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, and if your disc, your 4K Blu-ray disc like the Alita Battle Angel or Robin Hood has both Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus, the player somehow prefers HDR10 Plus over Dolby Vision, even though Dolby Vision is better than HDR10 Plus. I cannot test it out because my TV does not support HDR10 Plus, but if I find anything, I'll update you guys. I will also test all the formats and files that did not work on this player in my previous review just to see if Oppo has made them compatible with the software software updates. Before I start, I want to let you guys know that when I tested this player 2 years ago, the firmware at that time was the UDP-203 and the firmware that I am running right now is the latest firmware on this player as of August 2019, the UDP-2065031. The disc that I have inserted in the player right now is of the movie Alien, which was released in 1979. Now the HDR format on the disc is HDR10+. That is the only HDR format it supports on top of HDR10 and does not support Dolby Vision. Now let's see which HDR format this player detects. Okay, you can see that this player only detects it as HDR10 and not HDR10+, and the reason for that is that my TV does not support HDR10+. If my TV had supported HDR10+, the player would have said HDR10+. On the audio front, I have no issues on getting DTS HD master audio on my player. The disc that I have inserted right now is of movie Alita Battle Angel, which has both Dolby Vision and HDR10+ on top of HDR10. Now let's see what this player is detecting. You can see that it says Dolby Vision. It is detecting the Dolby Vision stream and not HDR10+. Now since my TV does not support HDR10+, that's why it's saying like this. If my TV had supported HDR10+ as well, the player would output HDR10+ instead of Dolby Vision. On the audio front, I am getting Dolby True HD 7.1 on my receiver since my receiver does not support Dolby Atmos. Now it's the time for external files, and the file that I'm playing right now has only HDR10+ format on it. On bringing the information bar, you can see that it says HDR10+, and it indeed is detecting HDR10+ on the external file. On the audio front, I'm successfully getting DTS HD master audio on my receiver. Now it's the turn for external files of Dolby Vision, and there is one thing to be noted, that MKV format cannot contain Dolby Vision streams, so you can play those via .ts or .m2ts formats. So you should have those external files in Dolby Vision format in either .ts or .m2ts format. This external file is in .ts format and it has Dolby Vision HDR stream in it, and as you can see on the information bar, the player is successfully detecting Dolby Vision stream. On the audio front, I am successfully getting Dolby Digital Plus on my receiver. One thing to note here is that while playing UHD Blu-ray, when I reviewed the player 2 years ago in that firmware, under the video information, it would show the high luminance and low luminance content on that video. That is if the video is mastered in 4000 nits or 1000 nits. In the newer firmwares, that option has been omitted now and you can no longer see the highest and the lowest luminance of that content. Even when the feature was available on this player, it was pretty inconsistent and would not show correct values. Now let's talk about the HDMI input of this player. To access all the features of HDMI in, you have to press input button on the remote and then you get these four options. The first one is the Blu-ray player, that is self-explanatory. This is the HDMI in. Now this is the option that you will select to pass through 4K HDR signal from the player. Only 4K HDR and not Dolby Vision. This is the ARC HDMI out. This is a very handy feature. What it does is that if your player is connected to the HDMI ARC port of your TV, and if your TV is giving output through audio return channel ARC, the player will accept that audio from the HDMI output of the player and can pass through from the secondary HDMI port that is used for audio only. This is the HDMI in bypass mode and this will be used to pass through Dolby Vision content. Now you can select this mode for pass through HDR also, but then the player would not process the HDR signal through its very capable video processor. I recommend you to use the HDMI in for 4K HDR signal and use the HDMI in bypass for Dolby Vision signal. Now it's time to test all the formats that the player did not support when I reviewed it 2 years ago. Last time I tested a file which had AAC 7.1 audio on it. When I played that, I found that the player is unable to detect the audio in a very efficient manner and is detecting it as AAC 7.0, and I was getting very cranky sound on my speakers. Unfortunately, this issue has not been resolved. It is still not able to decode the AAC 7.1 channel efficiently. The same thing is happening. The player is detecting it as AAC 7.0. My receiver is getting linear PCM at 5.1, and when I go to the detailed information, I am seeing it as AAC 5.1. Last time I also tested a file which has audio in AAC 5.1 in 24K. The problem that I was getting at that time was that even though my player and my receiver were detecting the audio in 5.1, and even though the player was decoding the audio in linear PCM in 5.1 and sending to the receiver, I was only able to get audio from the front two channels. LFE channel was missing, so were all the other surround channels. I played the file again, I checked the info, it successfully detects it as AAC 5.1. I'm also getting linear PCM 5.1 on my receiver, but the same thing is happening. I'm only getting the front two channels and not the surround and LFE channel. Unfortunately, it has not been resolved as well. Last time I also had an issue in few files, not all of them, but in few files with Dolby True HD and DTS HD master audio format. When I play them externally on an external media device, with the bitstream selected, I do not get audio on my receiver. The receiver says no stream. So the workaround at the time was either I had to go to settings and change the audio from bitstream to linear PCM and then back to bitstream, or I had to change the audio track to some other and then come back to the first one and then it would play. Unfortunately, the same thing is happening. You can see that my receiver says that it is not receiving any stream. So if I go to this audio, change the audio, now I'm getting audio on my receiver. If I go back and select the first one, and I'm getting DTS HD master audio. This thing has not been resolved yet. It's not a big deal, there is a workaround, but it's still there. Last time I also had an issue where some files would take a lot of time to start playing. The problem still persists. This is a 20GB MKV file with HDR10 and DTS HD master audio, and it takes around 20 seconds to start playing. It does play eventually, but it takes time to play that. .dng image files were not supported back then, they're still not supported. DSD256 files weren't supported back then, and they aren't supported right now. Here's the good news, VP9 codec wasn't supported when I tested this player 2 years ago, but now it does. It says on the video codec VP9, although it is not detecting any audio stream. But the file I'm playing is in HDR, but it is only detecting it as SDR. Files with HLG-HDR are being played, but the player is unable to detect the HDR stream. It is only showing as SDR and 8-bit. Now on to the most exciting part of this video. Last time when I reviewed this player, the main reason for me to recommend this player was that it was able to play my 4K UHD Blu-ray backups. I was able to scroll through the menus, I was able to play them as if I have inserted the Blu-ray disc into the player. But one thing that this player could not do was that to play 2D and 3D Blu-ray backups. Now I always thought that what if I could fool the player to think that the folder, the backup is of 4K UHD Blu-ray, and then when it would start playing the backup, since it is able to play 2D and 3D Blu-ray, it would just play those files. I would get 2D or 3D output depending on whether the backup is of 2D Blu-ray or 3D Blu-ray. I was able to do it, so I started searching and I actually found a way to do that. Now let me show you guys. In order to play the backups of standard Blu-rays on this player, you will need a Windows PC and a utility called BDMV Modify 1.4. I will link it down in the description below. Now you have to exactly do what I'm going to show you in the video. You have to create a folder called AVCHD. Everything should be in capital. This method will only work for 2D Blu-ray. Now you have to go to the backup format of the 2D Blu-ray. You have to copy the BDMV folder to the AVC folder that we just created. Click on Properties, uncheck the Read Only option, click Apply, and make sure that Apply changes to this folder, subfolders and file has to be selected. Click OK and then click OK. Then you have to go to the BDMV Modify version 1.4 file, right click on it, run it as administrator. From here you have to browse to the AVCHD folder. Remember to click on the AVCHD folder and not BDMV. With the AVCHD folder selected, click OK, click Modify. And you will get a pop-up saying modify successful. If the modify fails, make sure that your folder is not read-only and make sure that you have browsed to the correct AVCHD folder and select the AVCHD folder. Click OK. Now unplug the drive, connect it to your Oppo UDP-203 and go to Oppo UDP-203. On the UDP-203, you will have to go to the AVCHD directory, and as soon as you press the enter on AVCHD folder, there you go. You can scroll through the menus, you can select the language, and of course you can play the movie. The movie would run without any issues. You can skip, fast forward, or even stop. Doing the same steps on a 3D Blu-ray, when I play, it does start playing it because this file, this particular intro file is in 2D. But as soon as the 3D file comes, the player will output 3D signal and then it would just hang. It would not show anything. The TV would still say it is getting 3D signal in 1080p at 24 frames, but screen will be blank and nothing else will come. So that wraps the second review of this player, guys. I hope you guys liked the review. I think I pretty much covered everything that I had to. But still after that, if you had any questions about this player, you can always comment down below. I will try to answer that. You can also follow me on my social media. The links will be down in the description below. Now on to the giveaway. I will be giving away the digital code of the Martian Extended Edition. Now this Blu-ray disc is pretty special to me because this was the first UHD Blu-ray disc that I purchased, and I purchased it of my savings. So in order to get this, There are few steps that you'll have to follow. The first one is you have to subscribe to the channel. You have to follow me on my social media. All the links will be down in the description below. And you have to comment down below that which is your favorite feature of this player. I will pick one lucky user, one lucky comment, and I will give away this digital code to them. The winner will be announced 2 months after the video has been published. And the reason for that is I want more and more people to participate. Okay, now let's discuss about this player. I really like this player. I hope this video helps someone to play the backups of their 2D Blu-rays. I would have been very happy if I was able to play the 3D backups, but unfortunately the player does not play them. I hope Oppo does something about it. Because I purchased the Blu-ray disc, I back it up because I back up all the Blu-ray discs, whether 2D, 3D or 4K. I create their backup, I keep them on my hard drive just to be safe. I don't want to scratch the discs. I also want to tell you guys the alternative to this player. Since this player is discontinued and you cannot get it anymore, you can get it, but it costs around $2,000 and it's not wise to. I would spend $2,000 on this player. I love this player very much, but I think you should not spend that much money. There are few alternatives that you should look into. The first one is the Cambridge CXUHD. It is the 4K UHD Blu-ray player based on the Oppo UDP-203 by Cambridge Audio. That player is essentially the same thing as UDP-203, has the same software, same MediaTek quad-core chipset, everything, except for the DAC and analog outputs. If you care a lot about the analog outputs, then I think you are out of luck there, but that player will essentially play all the formats that the Oppo UDP-203 does. That player, however, has few shortcomings. Number one, there are no analog outputs, and since that player is based on the UDP-203, first Oppo releases a software update, then it goes to Cambridge, and the difference between the rollout of the updates is like 4 to 5 months. That player still has to receive the software based Profile 5 Dolby Vision that Sony TV sport, and this player got this update months ago. Also, that player does not have the front USB port. Also, the remote control of CXUHD is no way near as good as the Oppo UDP-203 ones, but those are the trade-offs that you'll have to accept in order to get the best alternative to the UDP-203. The second alternative to this player is the Pioneer UHD LX500. That is also a very capable player that would play all the files from external media, but it won't play your Blu-ray backups. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, that player does not have a lot of analog ports at the back. And both the Cambridge and Pioneer players are very expensive. They are considerably more expensive than the UDP-203. And also, this player does not have the HDMI input. So you cannot take the advantage of the video processor of the Pioneer player, unlike the UDP-203, which has the HDMI input. Cambridge one also has that. I hope Oppo makes a comeback. They start making all the products again. They make some really awesome products. I was looking forward in getting the other Oppo products, but unfortunately, I don't know why they had to take this decision. And I'm really excited for the future of this player. The player has been getting all the updates, all the major updates, all the major formats. I hope they support the backups of 2D and 3D Blu-rays, but we'll have to see. So I hope you guys like this video. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about this video or any video that I've previously made, please comment down below. Follow me on my social media. I will link the BD Modify 1.4 software down in the description below, and the article also that I read from where I first came to know about the BD Modify 1.4. Do comment down below and follow the instructions to participate into the giveaway, and I will also be hosting some other giveaways in my future videos. Press that bell icon to get notified when the new video comes out. I will see you in the next video. Peace.